Yeah, don't worry about Pat. He'll be all right.
Okay, as we're talking about Pat, I was able to get access to Domino's, and as I got access to Domino's, I got access to the fucking cream egg cookie.
Have you tried it yet?
Not yet. This is the first. I kind of want to take a bite on it. Wait, I don't want to. I don't want to take a bite of it.
It looks like it's like leaking out of the bottom.
It is kind of a bit,
Oh my
right?
god!
Let's just give it a second. I don't want to eat this on screen. It looks like gross.
Screaming at the bottom, eh?
I love how we're all reacting to this as if it's a century egg.
Simon,
Oh,
I hope you
damn
live to regret it.
It's not too bad.
Man.
Wow, it's actually a whole cream egg.
Simon has diabetes.
Sounds a bit too sweet for my liking.
Yeah, I think there's a limit. This is the limit.
Like,
Yeah, every time I eat a cream egg, and if I ever eat it too fast, then I have regrets. I have to eat it slowly. But then even then it's too sweet, so I just never buy them, but once every few years.
You might like the mini eggs better than the full size ones.
Even when I could have
That's a
cream
good
eggs,
point.
it was that thing in the middle that I couldn't do it, man. It's just like it's too sweet and too like bitty.
Abundant.
I feel like I could probably eat this during the process of the call, but I could eat one. It comes in twos, right? So I could probably eat the one. I'd be like, yeah, I don't need to eat the second one. I'll leave it for another day. Or if Pat was here, I'll just give it to him. But unfortunately, Pat is like on the car car ride, right?
But it's probably good that you can't give it to Pat because he shouldn't be eating that.
Yeah, he should not. He might die if he eats one. So let's not do that.
I like eating sweet stuff, but maybe that was a bit too much.
I can imagine it probably was.
Yeah, the fact that someone like me who eats a lot of things go, it's a bit too much. You know, it's already pushed the limits. It's like,
Oh,
okay.
man. Just the cream egg on its own, man. Like it's just so like it's the syrupy bit, man. It's too much and it's too much anyway. I can't imagine being in a cookie's gonna help that.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I'm not a fan of like American breakfasts with the bacon and maple syrup. That's just too.
Oh, I do like that. To be fair,
Well,
to me,
mean,
that's just as bad. That's just too much salt and sugar. It's just like
I mean,
it feels so like I'm gonna die when I'm gonna eat it.
You know what it is? If you eat that with like oatmeal pancakes instead, you know, the ones that are kind of like very nutritionally healthy for you, then it kind of balances it out because it's like sweet and savory. But I mean, the amount changes obviously because like if you eat like pancakes in like the States and pancakes here, it's like you get a stack of 3, but over there it's like a stack of 6, which is like doubled already, and it's like the size is also bigger. It's like this is a bit too much food. Like I'm a big guy, but even that's too much food, you know. Even for me, when I was in the States at one time, I was like, I think I'll go for a small. I don't need to go for a medium. I think small is probably okay.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
Very
small
true.
is fine.
Yes. No, because the reason why I know this is because I went to Five Guys when I was in the States. I was like, I mean, I've got like a regular. I mean, like, I had the burger and I got the fries. I was like, I get regular fries most places. Well, it wouldn't seem that bad. The amount of fucking fries that you get in there, I was like, I don't need to eat this. I feel like I got a burger and 3 potatoes. I don't need to eat that much fries.
But what they don't tell you is that like the small, regular, and large is like it's more of a scale of how many people you can share them with. So like the idea is that like the large is for like 3 people, and then the medium's for 2, and then the smallest for 1.
I mean, I shared it with the person I was with. I shared it with the girl, but she was like, I don't really eat that many chips, Simon. And I was like, okay, sure, but it's like, yeah, okay, it was too much for 2 people, and it's like, yeah.
That is the best review of Five Guys. I don't eat that many chips, Simon.
I was like, yeah. And she was like, yeah, I don't eat that many chips. And it's like, oh, well, fuck. Okay, sure. It's like,
I hate Five Guys.
I know you do. You don't like Five Guys. You don't like Waggle Mamas, and you don't like most places or people.
I mean, I don't like Five Guys, but I just like them for different reasons too, Alec, I think. I just like Five Guys only because of, I think mainly because of them frying stuff in peanut oil. It I don't like the taste basically.
How do you
That
not?
kind of, yeah, I don't like the taste that causes. It's obviously plenty of people like it, and fair enough. I probably like the milkshakes, but obviously that's not most of what they do.
Yeah, Five
Um,
Guys milkshakes are pretty good. Yeah.
and then
There was
Wagamamas.
so much. I've just never seen so much food in my life. I mean, you know me. And that's
Yes,
usually not a
yes.
problem. But here I was like, oh, wow, I actually can't eat this, and I don't want to eat this. Why have you done this to me, burger joint? Like, why?
Oh,
It's
man.
it's the chips and the sides and that they just go excess. It's just like
Oh yeah, because like, the burger is actually quite. I mean, like because you can customize it, it's quite decent on itself, right? And it's like it's a decent burger. I don't need that many fries. I really don't need that many fries. It's just a bit too much.
Yeah, and Wagamamas for different
Well,
reasons.
Wagamama's is Alec problem for himself. That's like we
yeah,
won't bring it up. too much, right?
Wagamamas is good.
But the thing is,
No,
I
it's
also no
Maybe
longer
not
like
the whispered one.
I no longer like Wagamamas, but for different reasons. Like maybe one of the desserts or something, but most of their food just lets me down. It used to be better, and I
Yes,
think
I have.
over the course of like 10 years, it just started going down, and every time I've tried in the
Emmanuel,
last 2 years, I've just been disappointed.
I've never been more fucking proud of you, so good girl.
Yeah, but the service Emmanuel has been good.
I don't know. I don't think any of us could honestly say it's been good.
No, I'm trying to be facetious there because
that is the
was
one thing with Wagamama's. Like, you know, do your thing. I don't mind, but
Yeah.
like, let's not pretend it's a feature rather than a problem.
Yeah, deep
Oh, yeah,
down,
same.
it's okay. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It's just like right there.
I really like Wagamama's, to be fair. I mean, there aren't many people that I'll put up with them serving my dessert first for, but Wagamama's I'm all right with. But it does annoy me.
You guys have this problem
not-
with TGI Fridays for when some wasn't you, Emmanuel, who wanted it on Sunday to drink like a milkshake?
They wouldn't serve my
Oh, yeah.
dessert first.
Yeah,
She
that's what I'm
had a
saying.
problem with it. I was just like, I want it now. No, what you mean? I'm paying money.
Yeah, it's just this. It's a different time. It's the same thing. You're not changing the menu. That's what we all agreed
Yeah,
with.
but
there.
you haven't had your dinner and lunch first. You need to eat dinner before you can.
I think the best thing about that was how you tried to explain it, and you were like, "No, I want the dessert, but I want it as if it's a drink."
You just put a straw in it. That's the difference.
Oh yeah.
I also had a bit of a run-in at TGI Fridays just lately because I had the audacity to ask for a soft drink, and she was like, "Oh, okay, we do bottomless drinks." I went, "Oh, cool, I'll have a Coke," and she was like, "Coke's not on it. You got to have Diet Coke or Schweppes lemonade." And I was like,
Wait, what?
"I'll have Schweppes lemonade then." And she was like,
They're not
"Okay, sorry."
Do
And
they
I was
not
just
have any
like,
other kind?
what the fuck? We'll do bottomless drinks, but only for these two. I'm just
What?
like, well,
That is bizarre. I
That's
had
really
a
messed
similar
up.
thing with my my local cinema because I could see in the fridge they had glass bottles of Coke, and I went and on the sort of the draft thing they only had Pepsi, so I went to the counter and I said, "Can I have a Coke?" And she said, "Oh, we've only got Pepsi." And I went, "No, you haven't. There's a glass bottle of Coke there." And she went, "Oh yeah, you can have that one if you want." And I was like,
Cool.
"Why didn't you just say
I don't agree.
Maybe she didn't realize at that point of time. Maybe she was like, "Oh, so we've only got Pepsi. No, you've got Coke." Oh well, we fucking do, don't we? All right, yeah. Maybe that's. I mean, like,
I
oh,
don't know, it was
no.
the reaction. It was as if she was like, I don't know, as if she was going, "Oh yeah, if that's your choice." Like, I was like-
Maybe she was a Madam Web villain, and she was like, "I've got to offer Pepsi, or else I'll drop a sign on you."
Maybe it's just because of all the types of Coke that you see in this movie that we need to talk about. So, because Pat is on his way eventually, let's start off with Rob. Actually, we know why you chose this film. You told us this wasn't the film you wanted to choose. But why did you choose this
Yeah,
film?
we were there.
That was a brilliant segue as always, Simon. That was.
I tried that.
We were there for the decision in real time.
It has been on my list for a while, to be fair. It's when, funnily enough, when I first wanted to pick this, it wasn't streaming. So it's one in a long line for me. But no, I think yeah, it's one of those ones that like I've loved for a long time. I think it's probably like one of the first like films that I loved as a kid, because this Pulp Fiction and The Big Lebowski would have been like the first like they're the three that I remember going like, oh yeah, this is so fucking cool, that wasn't like horror films. And I think as I've gotten older, I think Pulp Fiction has become less of a film to me, because I think the thing that they all had in common is like when I was a kid, I was going, oh yeah, this is so badass, like this is great. And then as I've gotten older and watched them again, I think like Pulp Fiction only really does that still. The Big Lebowski, I think like I don't know. It's just like it's a different thing. Like it's I just find it really funny, and like it's just a really nice time and whatever. But I think Boogie Nights has become a lot more than the other two for me, because alongside going, oh yeah, this is so badass, I think the thing that I really appreciate about it now is just like how sort of well formed all the characters are, and like how they interact with one another and their dynamics between one another. And even though like even somebody like Philip Seymour Hoffman, like he doesn't get the most screen time and he's only really like in the background of shots and that kind of thing, but you know exactly who he is, and you know like what kind of person he is, what his personality is, and like how he sort of interacts with the others and that kind of thing. And I just think it's so like well written and fleshed out from that point of view. And I think once you get to the point where God only knows is playing, and you've got like the little sort of montage of like where they all are now and all of that, I think it's like it's such a testament to the film that by that point you're going like, oh, it's great that he's doing this now, and like these people are doing this, and it's like the film isn't about like any one of them, but for me, like I'm so invested in like where they are at the end of it that it's just like such an emotional moment, and I think that's really cool. I also like that even though like they're sort of the thing that brings them all together is porn, it's not shown as like a sleazy thing. Like it's shown as like something that's it's shown as like a creative endeavor that they've all got in common, and nobody's like the only thing that separates porn from any other creative endeavor in this is that it sort of forms like a bit of a bubble around them, and it makes them outcasts to a point that they all have to sort of lean on one another, and they haven't really got anyone else because of it. But it's not shown as something that's like lesser than any other kind of creative endeavor. I think that's really cool as well, and I think because of that, like Jack's character is great, and like the whole thing of like his ambition being the thing that's like driving him to sort of bring all these people together. Yeah, I just think it's really fucking cool.
Yeah, I was really impressed with this one. um, Pulp Fiction and Big Lebowski were sort of in my head, especially for like near the end. They're probably actually like my two favorite scenes actually. But yeah, it's a bit with Ray Jackson and the bit in the bakery. Those are the two bits where I was like, fuck me, that was awesome. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to come out of it liking Mark Wahlberg as much as I did.
I think that's another testament to the film that he is literally a huge dick.
Yeah, ironically, his best song, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna say definitely not more regrettable than some of the things Mark Wahlberg's known for. Can now verify this is a lot better.
Yeah.
Anger didn't even fucking like it, and he will agree. But yeah, honestly, I was so impressed, and like I wasn't expecting to come out of it like liking anybody, and I think I liked everybody, and it was just because like they all kind of had their own stuff going on and their own aims and their own places they wanted to be, and it was just about getting there. And yeah, when Don Cheadle ends up having his shop, I was like, hey, very good, well done, man.
Yeah.
But everyone felt this was my first Burt Reynolds film, so very impressed. Yeah, I'll keep that there. Somebody, anybody, let's go.
Yeah, it's good. No. For my response on this film is, yeah, I really enjoyed it as much as you guys don't, in a lot of ways. I think it's just a great character study. It's so character driven. The whole film itself is just kind of like, it's just kind of like a day in the life kind of, to an extent, a day in the life kind of movie where you get to experience these characters doing something that seems a bit like out of the ordinary and a bit like shocking, but at the end of the day, it's just a job. And I really like that everyone kind of bonded and kind of came together because of this. Like, this is something we love to do, and this is what we're good at, and let's just get together and just do this. And every character in this film kind of like had their own wants and their own needs, and they just sometimes they coincided, sometimes they coalesced, and sometimes they kind of there was uh, a schism of of like conflict, but overall it all kind of like came together at the end, because I think the pivotal point was like the final act when they kind of go through this such drama and this they kind of when Wahlberg kind of splits away, and it kind of proves that they are a family in a way, and I thought that was quite a poignant thing to kind of end this film on. It was quite a poignant film overall because they kind of just he what was his name? Dirk Diggler, was that was his name, right? Yeah, he becomes he finds the family he never had, and they all become like so close despite them having issues here and there. I think that was quite touching, and Don Cheadle finding a place with this lot, and of John C. Reilly and Philip Seymour Hoffman. They all of them were just yeah they it all kind of was like they were the missing pieces, and they all kind of like locked in and just like, sure, what we're doing is some people is a bit untoward and stuff, but end of the day, it's a human it's human uh, nature. It's a human right to do what they want to do, and they're having fun while doing it, and they're good at what they're doing, and why shouldn't they? They're not harming anyone. And I feel that that's a good message to convey, is that, look, what some people might find offensive or strange, at the end of the day, it doesn't really hurt other people. It's just like they let them do their own thing, and they're having a good time while doing it. And that's the kind of the career we all would want to have. Not in this case, but I mean, not necessarily, but just kind of like getting to do what you want to do, not be judged for it, and just find people, fellow people that have like a mutual love for what you do. And I thought that was a good message. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about. It's quite more in depth than I thought, like Pulp Fiction at a glance, but more to it because it has a lot more to say about the industry. And even today, now, it still was just as relevant, because there's this like bigotry and biasness and kind of stigma going on around people who work in this field. So yeah, it's an important movie, and it's a different film than you might think going in.
Mm. I think that's I'll go into it like a little bit more sort of after we've all sort of said something, but like I think that's touching on why I think it's such a great film as well, is that because it treats the porn industry with more respect than, you know, like a lot of films would. The way it does that rise and fall story is I think it comes off really well. Like that scene where they're trying to kind of like change with the times, and they're filming in the back of a cab, and then Roller Girl's like, "Nah, this isn't right," and then they beat that guy up. Like that to me is the moment where you go like, "Yeah, man, like Jack's in this for the right reason." Like he like she obviously means something to him on more of a level than just like this is an actress who can make him money, or this is just like a body that somebody can have sex with kind of thing. Like this is like, and then when they all sort of come together as that like sort of like half broken family unit at the end, it's just like, yeah, it's perfect, man.
I think that's something as well that I wasn't expecting to see. Where like when I found out it was about porn, I was like, oh man, this is going to be really dark and nasty in it. And like it wasn't a lot of the time. A lot of the time it was like, they're all like, everyone was very like respectful of each other for the most part, and no one was trying to exploit anybody. Really, it was. I hesitate to use the word innocent, but like, yeah, they all kind of wanted to be there, and there wasn't like any. It wasn't gonna go into the nasty bits that I was expecting.
Oh yeah, because this film could have easily turned quite Requiem for the Dreamish. It could have went really.
Someone's gonna have
really.
to pick this. Someone needs to pick Requiem for a Dream. So I don't understand.
I will, but like not this year, maybe. All right, it's just a bit.
Oh, fuck's sake! You bring it up every fucking week.
Yeah, but it's the thing of like you gotta really prepare everyone to watch it, right? But in any case, it's like this film was a bit. It was a lot more nicer film than I expected it to be, because I didn't watch this before. I have never watched this beforehand, right? And it was like, oh, it's a film about I don't know if it's a mockumentary about a real life porn actor and his life as Dirk Digger. And it was like, okay, weird name, okay, that's his story. Oh, his story is he's got a massive dick. Okay. Right. Okay. I didn't know where it was going. Right. I really it just felt, I didn't know where it was going. But afterwards, it was when he left when it was his family, Eddie's family, and you see him and it's like, oh, I see. It's about him being a broken person, finding people that are also kind of broken as well. And with the broken pieces, find a kind of like seemingly cohesive like whole again. And like even afterwards when he has a fight with Jack as well, and it's like, oh, and again it kind of breaks off again, but it kind of mends itself right at the end. And it's like, I see where it's going for. A lot of things have happened with each of their individual stories, but because they get it and they understand each other's like pains and traumas, they kind of like work in a seemingly cohesive unit. And like the cohesive unit that sticks it all together is porn. And it's like, oh, not what I expected, but like, all right, it makes its own sort of sense. And like, they still work together after everything that's happened. Everyone gets like their, I wouldn't say best ending, but the correct endings for everyone. Everyone who needed to do what they needed, everyone who did things that were too bad died. Everyone who did nonce stuff was in prison, and everyone who was a consenting adult who had like things that they cared about, like each other, got their like who's generally stuck with each other. And it was like, yeah, they got their generally correct endings. And it's like, yeah, makes sense. She got the her qualifications from high school and all that shit. Was that?
I said I'd love to hear you as a judge, just like I sentence you to life for doing nonce things.
That's Judge Pat.
Yeah, yeah, that's just Pat, to be honest. You're a nonce, life in prison. Yeah, it's like, okay, fine. Yeah, but generally speaking, the story was a lot more, was like, it made sense, generally speaking. The acting is, certain parts of the acting were like questionable. I don't know if it was just like with the mostly, but it's like
Yeah.
there were parts where they're like generally speaking, everyone else was like it felt like it felt right. It felt like it made sense, and that's really all you can say. Or sorry, it feels like it can make sense and it could be quite believable, apart from certain parts, right? Then generally speaking, it's quite a good movie in itself. It's kind of neatly tied by the end. It's a bit like wonky with certain parts, but generally speaking, it's a good film. It's a good piece of cinema.
Mm. Yeah, just like because you were talking about everyone's endings, I really like another bit that's sort of tied into the rise and fall is that like the first half of the film is all very like, yeah, we're all having a great time except for this one guy whose wife keeps cheating on him, and like everything's fine apart from this one guy, but everything else is fine.
Hey, hang on
And
a
then-
second. Cheating implies he doesn't know.
Well, I mean, he's not happy about it, is it? Like,
It didn't seem like
Just saying, it implies.
But-
a happily open relationship.
Yeah, it was a bit.
But yeah, like
It just
I
implies
really like how it
kind of
sort of like goes from. Oh, sorry.
I was.
Oh no, I spoke over you. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I said it implied there was some sort of subterfuge.
Oh, but no, I like the way it's sort of like compartmentalized into two halves because you've got like the first half, everyone's happy except for him, and everything's like, you know, they're all sort of they're all sort of like showing what's going to be their downfall, but they're all happy at that point. And then it gets to the New Year's Eve party. He's finally fucking had it, and he just like sticks the gun in his mouth and kills himself. And then that's the moment where everything's a bit like we're all sort of taking a more serious approach to this, and like everything's not quite as like rosy as we thought it was, and all that kind of thing. And then I love at the ending where like that where you get the I love the bit with Don Cheadle where he's still doing that thing that he was doing in the other guy's shop, and he's still going like, no, you need this upgrade if you want it to sound good, man. And then you get like the slow reveal of the painting of him on the wall. I think that's a really nice little tribute to him.
I feel like if you want to talk about parts, isn't it like the first half is the 70s and the other part is the 80s? It's like that perfect like cut right in the middle. Even when Bill kills himself, he still died in the 70s, technically speaking.
Yeah, it's literally like welcome to the 80s, bang. Like
it's like
yeah.
Oh, yeah, Emmanuel, what's your thoughts?
On a note about like people who inspired it, like one of the people that would have inspired Mark's character was John Holmes. And it makes sense because they make that reference in the film as well. And then he calls his character not John, something. What does he call his character,
Dirk?
Mark Wahlberg? No,
Dirk. No,
not his porn star name.
Oh, is the one that he what is it?
I thought it was something Woman, but that might have been the other guy.
Brock Landers.
Yeah, Brock Landers and Chest Rockwell.
Yeah, but yeah, his character was inspired quite a bit by John Holmes, who had like a legendary career, but unfortunately he died from like age-related complications in 1988 at 43.
Do you mean career as in like literal, or do you mean career?
Sorry,
He had a very long. You said he had a very long career.
I don't know about that, but he did do apparently he did do thousands of. He was basically always having sex. He was very well known, very legendary at the time. Basically, everyone pretty much knew him in that scene, and probably who watched that kind of stuff at the time. yeah, why necessarily didn't enjoy watching it. It is interesting to find out about the kind of facts around it. I also, like Rob said, I agree that multiple people said, I like how it did treat it with respect and whatnot. Like, in fact, there was actually something I was looking at. I don't know if I would pick it. I still need to watch it. I wasn't thinking of picking it, but it reminded me of something else that takes a view into, but more of a, let's say, a less theatrical version of a view into sex work, so a darker kind of film. But when Rob said said the name of this film, I've never heard of it before. And before watching it, I watched the trailer. And I was just like, oh, oh, okay, it's about this, okay. And while I didn't expect it to be dark, um, it actually um, it had more kind of not kind of feelings, but like the director would say, the director was like, this film is about finding family, even among these broken people. Um, Even though, yeah, it can be crazy because like it's pornography, but they're trying to find people to connect with in these relationships. And yeah, I didn't expect that part to be as good as it was, or done as well as it was. The trailer didn't do it justice, but then it was a film made. It was in 90 what 97.
Yeah, 97.
Yeah, and it's very much a trailer of the time. Like maybe if it was made now, the trailer would be a little different. Maybe it would be more like the holdovers.
Mm.
I think that I haven't seen the film, but I feel like and maybe you could like say to me, but I feel like that trailer for that probably gives a good idea what you're getting in for. You have maybe bits of funny moments, but it's got lots of real like kind of feeling and heart to it and messages in it.
Yeah, to be honest, they're kind of like I suppose they're similar in a way because they're both films about people who wouldn't usually fit together finding sort of companionship in one another.
Sure, sure. Um, but yeah, it's I think yeah. While I thought it was okay, yeah, I think it was just certain parts. I'm just like, I think it's more, especially some scenes where watching the people make such like bad decisions or things they done, which have seem very. It's I'm not criticizing it at all. It's just some parts for me are like harder to watch. I'm just like, oh man, oh man. But otherwise, yeah. I mean, yeah. I'll probably talk about some of the trivia I've seen or I've read too and whatnot. But it's pretty interesting. One thing I will say, I'm surprised that thingy actually ended up in this film. What's his name? Burt Reynolds. Like, I don't blame him, but he really did not want to play in this film. Like, if it wasn't if it wasn't for the director being so persistent and his agent being like, look, you haven't acted in anything decent for too long, man. You need to do this. It's just like, "Ugh, okay." And he even got nominated for a um Golden Globe. Yeah, he
It was a
got nominated.
global gold.
But yeah, he got nominated, and even parts like where like he took it seriously, obviously. So he did his research. He interviewed a lot of people, talked with a lot of people in the industry, and like after him doing all this interviews, it made him like want to cleanse his mind and wear rubber gloves or something. Like he was just like, man, this is really horrible. But on the flip side, like a lot of them would ask him, how do I get into like get into the proper acting industry? Like how do I get my actor's card kind of thing? And the little things where you have like the judge is an actress, a porn actress who made that transition from back then.
Mm.
And the what's his character, Little Bill's wife in the film was a porn actress as well. And I was like, that makes sense. It's like obviously you're working in this kind of in this world. The director kind of hung out with a legendary porn director for like to kind of get a good idea how to do this, how to go about it. And one last thing, sorry, it's just lots of funny things. The Little Bill's wife, actress, like the gift she gave gifts to everyone after the film, and they were just all her own porn films. It's just funny. It's like it makes sense. Oh yeah, actually, one more thing. Wow. Obviously, you said how Mark Wahlberg really regretted doing this film. Obviously, he's got other things he should really regret at the top of his list. But anyway, I wonder why he kept the fake rubber dick as a souvenir if he regretted it that much.
I
think we all know why.
Yeah, I feel like the joke is like he regrets it because he knows that he doesn't have the actual size of the dick, and he's like, at least I have the fake dick to prove that I was in this movie. I don't know. It's several reasons why he has problems.
Saying that problems.
Well, yeah, but like one of them is saying like he regrets this movie where he should regret other things he's done.
I do think though that what you were saying about Burt Reynolds not wanting to be in this, and also like how Mark Wahlberg's spoken about it since. I do think that's another credit to Paul Thomas Anderson, because I think if this was made now, like the exact same film, it wouldn't be as surprising that it's so like respectful of sex work. Because I think now it's kind of like, well, whatever, like it's just something that some people do, and that's, you know, like if that's what they're going to do, that's cool. Whereas I think back then, because of the attitude of people like Burt Reynolds and how Mark Wahlberg's spoken about it since, like it was seen as a different thing. And I think considering this was Paul Thomas Anderson's first film, like it's a credit to him that he managed to get all of these people involved in it, and he was persistent enough to actually like bring them all together and make something like this. Because it would have been like to approach a big studio to get like not a massive budget, but like a decent budget. I think it was like $15 million or something like that. So it's not like a blockbuster budget, but like for your first film, like it's quite good. Yeah, for him to get that and then to convince people like Burt Reynolds to be in it, and to make a film that's so like, I think, thoughtful and considerate of everyone in it as well. I think that's a huge credit to him as a filmmaker.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it was his first, but it just makes it even more impressive because it just seems like a veteran director would have made something like this.
Yeah.
There's so many oneers that like are just giving you the geography of everything, but like you only consider the amount of timing that must go into that, and like you got to coordinate everybody, like just to be in like the right place at the right time and make it look natural. Like that doesn't look like something that's like a first timers thing.
No, it's there's a few shots that like it actually really reminded me of like something that Steven Spielberg does a lot because he's really good at like basically like using a pan where another director would use a cut. So like he'll go from like one perfectly composition shot to another, and it's like the camera has moved from one to another. He hasn't just gone like that, bang that. And it's like it's something that not a lot of people can do, but there's examples of it in this as well. And it's like, shit, man, you did this on your first go. Like it's
Really impressive.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot that he originally wanted Leonardo DiCaprio, but he apparently turned it down because he had Titanic. For that was the main reason, and then suggested
wow.
Mark Wahlberg. Wahlberg, which is like he at first he wasn't sure if he wanted to do it because apparently before like Showgirls didn't go well, the film from before.
Mm.
But then he changed his mind and went to do it.
I will say, I think if Leonardo DiCaprio was in this rather than Mark Wahlberg, I probably would have given it a 10 for acting. But like the point I took off was all Mark Wahlberg.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I
man.
actually
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
think that's
I-
when he's having the fight with his mum, where I went,
Yeah, I still stand by the
Right.
fact that it's his best film, but the fact
Yeah.
that it's his best film because it's the best film he's in, rather than the
Yeah.
fact that it's the best performance.
No, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's his best film, but it's also the one that highlights that he's not very good at acting.
Yeah, you could make that argument there. You never really
I mean,
got
they
much
all
better.
do that.
I mean, like, it's for me the scene. I mean, that scene was bad, right? But like the scene is definitely the singing, and like the singing for the radio for when he wants to do his music career. I just
but that was
felt like,
purposely bad.
are you sure it was purposely bad and not just bad? Because like you know that Mark Wahlberg has been a rapper, right? And like he's actually, yeah, I remember hearing about it as a rumor, but then I was like, is that true? It's like, oh, I know, yeah, he's tried to make music videos in real life and tried to be a rapper in real life, and I'm like, I don't know if this is acting or just he's just being bad at music. I could be
But
both.
he
I don't know.
tried.
Yeah,
And
he
also-
tried to be bad. Yeah.
Also,
Excellent.
I'm sure that
rapping
the-
and singing, different thing.
I'm sure Paul Thomas Anderson was going, this is exactly what I want. Whether Mark Wahlberg thought it was good or not, I don't know.
He probably thought it was
I could
good,
see Mark
bad
Wahlberg
singing.
being. I felt like he was kind of going like, "Oh, we should take this bit out."
Yeah, I think that was definitely on purpose.
Oh, do you want
I think it's so funny putting them next to.
Oh, Mark Wahlberg's rap name is called Marky Mark. Just as an add tidbit there, as I say. Anyway, so
Yeah, it's Marky Mark and the Funky Man. It's so, I was just gonna say it's so funny watching him badly act on purpose, even though he doesn't really have much of a choice. Next to John C. Reilly, who like, is actually an actor, who's also acting badly. Like I think that's the thing with this cast is like everyone else is so good that they kind of elevate him.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, like, because I think Burt Reynolds is so good because he's like, it's a really difficult thing because he's such a big name and such like a recognizable face that you kind of like he has like an air of sort of authority about him. But he's such a good actor that those moments where like they're in the diner and he's going like, "Oh, I want to make a film that really sucks people in," and they can't move because they want to know how the story ends and like all of that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, I believe you're at like you're sort of trying to work your way up, and that bit where he's in the editing room and he goes, "This is my best work yet. This is what they're going to remember me for." It's like, oh man, like it looks like shit, but I totally believe you. And even though you're Burt Reynolds and you've got this like sort of this kind of like stature to you naturally, I believe that you're kind of, sort of far enough away from what your dreams are to look at that and go like, yeah, I've really done something here. Like, he's so good.
Yeah, good old
Right. See, I really appreciate that character as well, because like he was who I was expecting like most of the like Leary shit to come from, but you can tell he was very, very respectful of Julianne Moore and Heather Graham's characters. I'm like, even when he's like, "You guys are gonna have sex in front of me now," there's obviously like a clear communication between them of like, and the director, and like, I need these things from you, but like he didn't. I don't know. Like when he's watching them the first time, I didn't get the idea that he was like getting off to it. I think he was kind of trying to think of it in terms of a director, and he was trying to think of how would I frame this?
Yeah,
How would
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
do
got
this?
that
And like,
impression.
yeah, he's more just going like, this would make a really beautiful shot, rather than like, and I think that is something that you would kind of put in a lesser film about pornography.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, man. And I think that's really nice as well, because the way he sort of views it, or like even when he's shooting the scene between Mark Wahlberg and Julianne Moore, and like obviously like he's romantically involved with Julianne Moore on some level, and he's sort of watching this going on, and it's like, well, this is the film, so it's like whatever. So you can see why the situation with Bill's wife cheating on him wouldn't register him as something that's like playing on him, because it's like, well, this is the world we live in. It's just like whatever, man. And yeah, I think like there's a real like innocence about him that I think it's like when you're talking about a director who's basically got like a whole sort of like porn production running out of his house. Like I think it's really nice that they managed to do that with him.
Yeah. Also, that the kind of thing with Little Bill and his wife, that also would have been quite common, like in a kind of consensual way, but that would have been quite common. Um, on two different notes, it was quite interesting that either I forgot this or I didn't know it, but like it, in the 70s, it was actually illegal to shoot porn,
Oh, really?
apparently, or a lot of it was illegal. Um,
Really?
yeah.
Well,
There
how
were
come porn theaters existed in the 70s? That's the crazy thing.
it was I think there was like um there's certain rules and regulations behind it. I haven't looked into it too much. All I know for the most part is that a lot of, not all of them, but the majority of like 1970s porn stars and directors, um like we're saying there were a lot of inaccuracies about the film, in saying how like at certain points it would have been illegal or what it was trying to do. Um, but like you said, there was the whole, especially in the 80s. So I think it got easier in the 80s, but there was the whole kind of thing of um, in the 80s, you had a lot of it in the cinemas. In between there in the 90s, where you had this lockdown, you had a whole kind of, I guess, revival of the views on porn. And while you had, sorry, there's a fly. Um, and while there were lots of views changing, there were also lots of views around the cinema business changing, and that's when you started getting. I can't remember if it was. It's the whole thing around when NC-17 came in. You had, at first you had triple X rating, but then it was changing it to R and all these other kind of things. This whole kind of stuff around it. There's a podcast on it. Oh, you must remember this. That my wife listens to, and they kind of talk about that. And during the time, and like you said, it's interesting that they paid a lot of respect to it, or did it in a respectful way. while still in the 90s, because that would have been just off the back of many years afterwards, yes, but it would have been off the back of lots of negative views. There were tons of protests. There were lots of things like really pushing it out the cinemas. And yes, the advent of videotapes and home movies really saved a lot of those kind of those production teams and whatnot. And it was interesting seeing the guy come in being like, "Look, I'm trying to tell you to be one step ahead. Like, this is what's going to happen." He probably didn't see how literally a lot of America literally turned against the porn industry, the porn cinema industry. It was just like, "No, we do not want you in cinemas. Like, get out." Like, and there wasn't many people who would stand up for them, like Rob was saying, in this bubble and this kind of outcasted kind of thing. But it's there's a lot of interesting history around it, and yeah, I don't know too much, but
Yeah, I was just reading a few things while you were talking there. Like, it's actually really interesting. Apparently, it's not even like technically legal now. So apparently, when George Bush was president, he made obscenity and pornography a top prosecutional priority in the Department of Justice. So I wonder if it's maybe one of those things like in I can't think of where now, but like in like some countries, it's like weed is illegal, but what they're going to do about it is literally nothing. Like
yeah,
so it's like it's
Oh, right,
technically
yeah.
not legal, but it's not something that you're going to be ever punished for or prosecuted for or whatever. It's really interesting. Like there was one court case in 1973 apparently, which set a precedent for a like a test about whether. And let me just find it. So apparently, this court case set a precedent for if something lacked serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value, it was considered obscene. And obviously, like those, I mean that's quite a subjective test. I think it's
You might as well ban music.
yeah, like it's
That's stupid.
yeah.
there was lots of no surprise corruption, payoff deals behind people's backs and whatnot. Like what got into the cinemas, what didn't get in the cinemas. There were some things that got in that were trashed because they got paid off, whereas other things that were much better, but they would then either not get in or they would get the NC-17 rating or like the harsher rating, and then the film wouldn't get watched and it wouldn't get that money.
I guess now it's a quick question of if that's all what you guys have said is true. How did The Room get as popular or in cinemas as easily as it did? How much money did Tommy Wiseau have to pay to get The Room be put into cinemas? It's just a thing that
That's
I
a
just
weird.
thought.
That's the weirdest thing about The Room, to be fair, is nobody knows how he funded it.
Yeah.
It's like, where did he get his money from? Was he one of the guys? Did he steal it from some great bank robbery? Did he inherit it?
Maybe he's actually a secret Warner Brother descendant, and that's how he got all his money. I don't know. But it's like it just because all of this is like fine enough. I wonder if this conversation now about how it is going into being removed from the theaters and putting into like home videos and the switch from film, like actual film to like videotapes, is the same conversations that we have right now about the physical media of the future. Because like now it used to be VHS, then after it was now DVDs, then it's going to be Blu-rays, then it's going to be whatever next. Because like eventually, because like things evolve with technology, porn being one of them. So soon enough afterwards, it's going to be. I don't know what the future is for technology or like home entertainment, but it's going to have the porn version of that very soon, I guess, because I feel like I shouldn't need to ask this question because I should know the answer to this. But is there a porn version of VR? I feel like there is.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wasn't sure. You've confirmed it for me now. Okay, so it's kind of like
Man,
what?
your nose more than that.
I wasn't sure. I was just like, okay, but it's just like whatever the technology is for the next thing, whether making it in 4D TVs or whatever, like or TV streams straight into your mind. There's got to be a porn version of that, just because there is. It's just like where it is. And I was thinking, it's the same thing that we talked about before about physical media and like digital media. We're gonna get like, yeah, but I need to download my porn onto my thing. I don't need to like a physical media of porn. So it's like, no. Same conversation, just different genres, I guess. It's just like, no, it's just not what I expected. Yeah.
I mean, one thing I would say about just technology and its relation to porn, from when we like growing up, one thing I noticed, and I think there was lots of talks around this in and around the porn industry as well. Like whatever technology is coming out, you can believe that the porn industry are going to be one of the first to adopt it and try and use it. So even if you haven't seen it, just assume that, oh, there's some version of this new visual technology in porn somewhere, because they want to capitalize on that. It's just like how every time I see like Ghost in the Shell Innocence rather, when I was growing up, and I was thinking, yeah, that as soon as they get like realistic kind of AI voice dolls and all that kind of stuff, that's already starting probably a thing somewhere. Like they do push technology forward in their own strange way, and sometimes the benefits of what they've tested we end up seeing in mainstream media, but don't even realize it was tested by a bunch of people in porn.
I'm sure that's something that I've heard Quentin Tarantino talk about, because one of his jobs when he was like 18 or whatever was he was an usher in a porn theater, and I'm sure that I can't remember like where I would have read it, but I'm sure I read an interview with him once where he was talking about how he stole a lot from porn films and like used them in his later films, and nobody knows just because he stole it from porn.
Yeah, I think in the industry you're allowed to be experimental and try new things that no one else has done. So you can understand finding something really unusual in that sort of like art form. So I can understand like Tarantino just watching it and just being, hang on, that shot was actually quite clever. And even if it might have been by accident, it might not have been by design. It might have just been like one of the photographers for that scene was just like, I'm just doing this to save time, and it turned out to be quite a visionary thing. So some of these pornographers have created like quintessential cinematography without even realizing.
Quentin Central.
Yeah. So that's quite interesting. Like, I think that's the thing, is credit where credit is due, is I think what this film kind of like helps convey. And obviously Tarantino would like obviously admit that as well.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to actually look at it that way.
There was one thing that Tarantino said actually, is that his one problem with Boogie Nights was that he thought that Jack Horner was based on this, I can't remember the guy's name, but some like iconic porn director. And he said that his one problem was that he wouldn't be so like innocent, and he'd know the difference between like making a shit film and making a good film. So that scene where Jack Horner says like, "Oh, this is my best work yet," Quentin Tarantino didn't find it believable because he was convinced that he was based on this guy. But Paul Thomas Anderson was like, "No, he's not. This is my own character. Leave me alone."
Oh, but no, that's too funny. On a related note, like
I just imagine Quentin Tarantino working in a porn theater, and like the first time he sees like a foot fetish video, and it's just kind of like, it's like 2001. he's just one of the apes going like, whoa!
Maybe that's the thing that he's stolen, and he's replicated it in every film he's made since.
oh man.
I mean, if it was,
like
it's made
really
him very
subtle,
famous for it,
like, no,
unfortunately, right?
Quentin, this wasn't subtle. Everyone zeroed in on me instantly.
Just the two things. One thing to say, and then one thing I wanted to kind of put out and ask. So the first thing, random. I don't know if this says something about the actor himself. Very small role. The guy who they're trying to do the drug deal with the baking soda, who's who's high. and yeah, and whatever. It's got that bodyguard or whatnot. Apparently, because he didn't know the songs that he was gonna be like singing and dancing to, he practiced singing to them like 3 days running. And I was just like, I'm sorry, but why did you need 3 days to just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna learn the lyrics of this song, and he didn't need to learn all the lyrics, of course. There was just a very small bit. He knew the script, so it wasn't like
Different
he had.
lyrics.
I feel like it's because he's a method actor. You know, I mean, that's because that's the actor who did Doctor Octopus, right?
Yeah, it is.
Alfred
Oh, is
Molina.
he?
Yeah. I feel like
Yeah,
I
good old
feel like
man.
he's very method actor. He reads a lot about the stuff he's trying to do, and like if he has to sing a song, he probably goes, "All right, if I'm like a drugged up dude, how do I listen
Okay.
first? Now, how
Thank
do I
you.
play that as a drugged up, coked up guy?" Maybe that's what he was thinking. Because like if he was like, okay, I don't actually need to do drugs, but I just gotta think, how would the druggies doing this? And it's like he's probably went, I gotta develop a character to how I would play it like that. I feel like because he's a method actor. And like that's how it is. Because from what I understand, when he did Spider-Man as Dr. Octopus, he actually read a lot of the comics. I was like,
Oh.
oh,
He actually became an octopus.
I mean, that's another
oh, so
level.
that's why you went to SeaWorld. Right. No.
That scene with him always
How-
reminds me of year 7 in history, man. Just because of the snappers.
Oh yeah, that's great. I love those things.
But that scene now has ruined Jess's girl for me because whenever I hear that song, I just hear the tsh, tsh in the background.
Oh yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, this video reminds me of something. I couldn't think of what it was, and it's obviously the snappers. What's going on?
I
Oh,
love that scene. It's such a cool scene.
Oh, but
It's just 'cause you can see John C. Riley just like losing it every time there's a firecracker. You can just see him jump like, oh gee.
that's
Yeah,
actually
that
the
was a
scene
really fun scene.
I dislike the most. I'm just like, oh,
Really?
man,
Yeah,
please.
well,
It was done well. I just dislike watching it. Anyway, but no, that's too funny. That makes sense about the method acting. So thank you. So yeah, I can get why it would have taken that length of time at least, because to really get into it. Cool. One thing, it is a tangent, but I wanted to ask because I haven't been I didn't keep up with the news when the strike ended, the actor strike and whatnot. And there was obviously there's two different strikes going on related. But in terms of streaming and actors kind of rights and all sorts of stuff, do you know like what kind of deal they got or what was the agreements or stuff that happened after that? Because I'm thinking in terms of streaming and technology when we was thinking about how technology is pushing forward.
Mhm.
And obviously there was arguments over not just the streaming and their rights and how they're paid, but also their likeness and AI.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
do you know what kind of came from
I
that?
don't think there was like a strong agreement on it. I think it was just a case of like, okay, we're not gonna do this for now, kind of thing. So I just whether it happens again in the future, I don't know. But I think it was more just a case of like let's like pause on it rather than let's make any kind of like contracts.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think they managed to get like 60% of all their what would you say? What they wanted to achieve. Oh, it was over half. They managed to get things locked in, but as far as I know, it wasn't exactly a thing. But when these things happen, I think no one ever expects to get 100% of what they were
Yeah.
striking for. But so it's a bit of like it's they got something, but it wasn't quite. It wasn't foolproof, but at the time, for the moment, it's okay. Like the AI thing is still kind of a danger and a scary thing for the future, but at the moment, they managed to get things locked where they want it to be, as far as I know.
That's good. And to kind of add on to the AI thing, for the moment, at least, the ones in the lead in terms of AI generated video are open AI. But they've made it very clear that they, like, when they start releasing it, like, they're not going to allow people to kind of generate stuff based on people's likenesses. However, that's just open AI. You get
Well-
someone like Stable Diffusion or someone else who's just like, maybe we don't really care too much.
Oh, well, I mean, okay. Going back to this conversation, I didn't realize that there was someone who made a video about their cat attacking a bird. But this cat didn't attack someone's bird, but he made a video about it with AI, and he's like, what's the future where I can make someone's likeness murder someone else and use that as video evidence? So that's a very troubling thing about it, because AI's got quite advanced nowadays. So the second part of that is someone's found a way to quote unquote poison AI. And I'm like, wait, what does that mean? Oh, they have multiple pictures and multiple filters that are on their videos or artwork. So if someone was to copy the AI, it would copy like this weird corrupted version. So it will corrupt it because of like how AI learns. So it's essentially poisoning AI. And I'm like, oh, fuck, we've hit cyberpunk world, haven't we? Fuck, it's AI technology doing robot stuff, then someone corrupting AI doing robot stuff, and afterwards it's going to be porn. Going back to this movie, it's going to be porn AI, and it's just like, just like, I don't know what else is going to happen. I feel like porn AI exists as well, so I don't know. It's not something it's not something I've actively searched, but I feel like it exists.
Yeah, if you think of it, it exists. No
Yeah,
matter,
rule
it's like,
404.
it's rule
No.
404. If you think of it, it exists.
404, isn't
What
it?
did you just call it?
Yeah, it's
Is
rule
it?
34, isn't it?
No, what's
Oh,
it called?
Oh, sorry, it probably is rule 34. Sorry, I said 404.
Yeah, 404 is the error message. Yeah.
If you think of a page.
Yeah, that's our brains right now. It's probably that. Either way, it exists.
Yeah. Just to kind of end on that, like, they're always developing technology to kind of also analyze stuff as well. So if it was anything that was evidence, you would still have your kind of security type people, cyber type people who use stuff to analyze it to see whether it is AI generated or if it's not, kind of thing. But yeah, that's a whole interesting one. But it's on the actors part of the thing. I'm glad that they at least got. It's not great, and it's only for, I think you said, like 5 or 6 years or something like that, until maybe they have to come to another kind of agreement. But yeah, obviously I want the best for them, because we want good stuff in it. And yeah, like, a lot of people are taking the piss. Anyway. Oh yeah, sorry, I was done.
That's cool. Well, you've put us in this little rut here now, so you can get us back out of it.
Do you want to do favourite scenes?
Oh, yeah, that might be good.
You what?
Oh, yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, right.
My favourite scenes, were the I said at the beginning. They were the two that I thought had had the contrivance and the conveniences in. Those are my two. I was like,
Yeah,
that was fucking contrived. Really like that.
As soon as I picked it, I was like, yeah, that's a point off from Alec.
I really like really like the Don Cheadle in the bakery scene. Really, yeah, I really just sorry, knowing that Alfred Molina hadn't practiced any of the songs before he was doing them makes a lot of sense because he when he's singing along, he sings the wrong lyrics.
Yeah, he's also like he's doing that thing that he's doing it really loudly, but he's doing that thing when you don't know what the lyrics are and you're just going, hey man, yeah.
Oh, I'm so jealous. What are you doing? Oh, he was making me laugh so much. I really like Alfred Molina. And then there was also the bit where I think this is something like you wouldn't see nowadays, but it's when Little Bill flubs a line, but they keep it in because he's really frustrated in the scene.
Oh yeah.
But it's when he sees everyone in the garden fucking his wife, and he just kind of like he's like, for God's sake, and he like just walks off. Then the cinematographer starts having a conversation with him about the film they're gonna do tomorrow. He's like humouring him for a little bit. And then he's like, sorry, my wife's being fucked like over there. Do you mind? Like my thoughts aren't on this the fucking shadows in the show. And he's just like, oh, it's the film tomorrow. When do you want to talk about it? And he's like, my wife's got a fucking ass in her cock. I was like, did I mishear that? And then I was like, no, I didn't mishear it. That's actually that's actually what he said. And I like to think it was something scripted, but I'm more like it was something that he'd like fucked up, and then he went, "That's better. Let's do that." It's quite funny.
That scene, I think, is such a good example of what I was saying earlier as well, about how like all the people in this world just can't comprehend why he's so upset about this thing happening, and it's like,
yeah,
it's I don't know, man. Like, I think it's a really nice thing because it's like
when it ends with the cinematographer, like him just walking off, and the cinematographer,
yeah.
And he joins the crowd.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing because it's so perfect because it's like, yeah, you totally understand why to him this is like a really awful thing, but because of the world that they're in and like the sort of norms that they live by, I suppose I know nobody else gets it, and it makes them all so innocent, and it's I think it's such a good setup.
Oh, that was such a good scene. I really enjoyed it. But my back's hurting from carrying this whole call.
Ben, do you want to do yours?
I'm trying to think. Like Alec mentioned the Don Cheadle scene where he's in bakery. That was one of them. I think probably another. Even though it was a horrible scene, I suppose it is related to that as well. It's just the whole montage of like when Marky Mark is kind of like in this downward spiral, and he's with that random guy in the car in the parking lot.
Oh God, yeah.
And then it's intercut with like them filming in the fake taxi scene. It's so powerful how they keep going back, and it seems to be like ascending the dread and the horror, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen, kind of thing. Something bad's going to go down, and this is just the tension that is built from how they kite together I found really compelling and horrible, but just I found really really effective. But yeah, just the moment where what's the actress's name who plays Roller Girl?
Heather Graham.
Heather Graham, yeah. When Roller Girl realizes who this guy is that they picked up, and his remarks and however he speaks to her, it's just like, oh crap, this is something she's instantly going to regret, and it just gets worse, and then eventually they chuck him out and he gets beaten up, and then she joins in. It's really horrible to watch, but you can understand everything that's going through her mind at that point. and all of the characters are going through such like trauma that they have to kind of like physically get out of themselves. So it's very
I
effective.
really like the soundtrack there as well, because so much of the soundtrack has just been song after song after song after song. But then for that whole bit after Mark Wahlberg leaves, it's just a bell. It's just like a continual bell, and it's just kind of like something's wrong here. It just creates like a really, really discordant feeling.
Yeah,
And
that's
like
great
the scene in the scene in the car is like, I don't know, like Jack's just like talking as he's trying to direct as he usually would, and it's just not happening, and he can't quite understand, and he's going like, "This is Roller Girl. Like, what do you think you're doing? Are you listening to me?" And it's just like, oh my god, this is so desperate.
Sorry.
It's just like,
there's a fire alarm going off. I mean,
Oh yeah,
crap.
you do what you need to do, man.
Yeah. Careful, man. I hope you're all right.
We'd rather you live.
Yeah. Hopefully
Yeah.
it's false, but I need to go and check.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Good luck. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
First time we've had that.
Yeah.
Oh damn it! You guys said the same thing I thought. It's like it's always the candle thing that you guys thought up last time.
Oh god damn it.
Any case, I can imagine that particular night was very busy for the cops. You had a guy who was beaten, like his face got beaten in one side, and afterwards he goes down to the donut shop, and it's like, oh shit, there was a whole fucking like bloody massacre here in that shop. It was amazing. I can't imagine like what the police were going through, and you kind of knew that guy who was in the bakery just sitting there with his fucking like Guns and Bullets magazine was waiting just for that time of his life. He was like, oh yeah, it's my time to shine, to be like a hero. And he slowly pulls out his gun, right? Because that was actually, yeah, I can see why it was a bit, there was contrivances there because of the way that, especially that he fell, shot the gun, fired and hit the guy in the register. I was like, oh, that was a bit convenient, wasn't it? That's like, I can see your contrivance points there. But I guess like there's quite a lot of like interesting scenes or favorite scenes in this movie. Like the sillier favorite scene that I had was when he first thought of his like porn star name, and they actually had neon lights explode.
Yeah,
and it was like Dirk, and I was like, I saw that, and I was like, what the fuck? It's like, oh, it's just a cutaway joke, isn't it? It's like, oh, not what I expected, but it's like it stuck with me, unfortunately, because it was of how silly it was.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, it's the scene where they're, I guess it's like the spiral with the cocaine, and they're like in that weird downward spiral of like trauma dumping on each other, especially where he's like trying to do the music and he can't get the money because he needs the demo discs to get the money from the studio, but they need studio money.
Do you know who he's arguing with in that scene?
No.
That's Robert Downey Sr.
Really? Oh, fuck.
It's easy to miss, isn't it?
Oh, wow, I forgot about that. I know I recognised him. I was like, oh, who's that dude? Oh, of course it is.
But there was also the scene where there were, it was Amber and Roller Girl was doing, Brandy, that's her name, was doing the cocaine and the trauma dumping on each other. And I was like, I've missed my kids, my actual kid, and I kind of missed Dirk. He was like debate ideas, like they were just like, oh shit, was just like spiraling down. And afterwards, it's the scene with when I think it either starts or ends with Don Cheadle's character going, or was at the bank. It's like, stop saying porn. I'm an actor. It's not. I don't do that anymore. And it's just like, it just all like spirals downwards. And it's just like, it was so many cuts, I guess. I don't know if that's the correct word. It's like, it was so many scenes, just like compiling. You just felt everything all at the same time. And it was like, oh, wow, everything happened at that like few minutes. And it was so interesting to see. And because it was so much happening, you could feel everyone's like sort of emotions when they finally hit like that sort of like bottom because or about to hit bottom because it ends with her losing the custody battle, and it's like, oh shit, everything is there. Oh, wait, is he here?
Hey, Pat's back.
That's how you doing?
Well, I can't see you.
You
but
can't see us?
Hello. Yeah, I've just got a completely blank screen.
Oh, that's weird.
I was going to show you the cream egg cookie.
Oh,
That's Simon's
much of
new
a
film.
dance move.
I was looking forward to that as well.
Well, since he's not here.
Pat, you've made it just in time for favourite scenes if you've got one.
I'll do it once my screen is up.
I think I think like it's another thing it's related to what I was saying earlier about like how every character has their own thing. I think I could probably pick out a favourite scene for every character, and like I think one of the well, actually, to be fair, I was going to say one of the characters that you don't really think about is the Rodriguez brother that owns Boogie Nights, and I was going to say like even he's got a scene, but I think he's actually got two. Like, like one that I really like is when he answers the phone at the house, and then he's like looking for that person, and then he goes, and then like nobody's there by that name, and then he's like, oh yeah, it's just some kid asking for his mum. That really got me. And the other one is when he gets the sign outside of his club that says the Rodriguez brothers, and he's like, oh man, it's supposed to be a G.
Something about that.
You showed me that before, didn't you?
Probably.
I distinctly remember that.
I think like even for Mark Wahlberg, he's got a favourite scene, and it's the very last scene when he gets his prosthetic out, because I think that means a bit more than it seems, because all of like in the 70s, like it's a big topic of conversation, but you never see anything. And like the closest that you get to seeing it is when the colonel was like, may I see it? And then he looks down and he's like, his forehead just sort of like loses all its wrinkles. And then he sort of puts his head back up and he's like, well, thank you, Dirk. Like that's the closest you get to it. But then when he pulls it out at the end, it's like, yeah, you've gone from like a time where everything was a bit more sort of innocent, and now it's the age of excess. And like that's quite a cool little detail. For Heather Graham and Roller Girl, I think like my favourite scene is when she's just stamping on that dude's face. And it's just like that's the bit where it's like, yeah, you've got like your autonomy. And although it seems like you're in a world that could easily take advantage of you, you're with someone who's not taking advantage of you, and that's really cool. My favourite scene with Jack Horner is the one I was speaking about earlier, when he's like, this is my best work yet, this is what they're going to remember me by. My favourite one with Don Cheadle is the one at the end. I mean, it's hard to argue against the bakery scene, to be fair, because that is like that's just a cool scene. But my favourite one of him is when he's setting up Jack's stereo and he's like, no, you really need the upgrade, man. And it's like, oh, you got your own, like you're free to do this now. Like there's nobody telling you that you can't do it. Like this is just something that you love and you're still doing it. That's really cool. My favourite scene with Reed Rothschild is when him and him and Diggler meet for the first time, and he's like, "Oh, have you ever seen Star Wars? People tell me I look like Han Solo." That's brilliant.
I really love Reed Rothschild, and like he's got to be the most singularly insecure person ever.
He's got so many good lines though. Like he even in the God Only Knows montage when he's doing the magic and that kind of thing, it's just like, yeah, that's perfect for you. Like that's exactly where you should be. It's just doing something stupid in Las Vegas.
I found out a bit of trivia.
Go on.
I'll let Alec finish first.
I was just gonna say I was thinking of Let the Right One In a little bit with with that whole thing, because you can see Reed is like a bit disturbed by Dirk coming in. He's just kind of like, well, I need to establish myself here, and that's why he's like, so how much do you bench? I bench this much. And then he's just like, okay, well, how much do you do? How much do you deadlift? And he's just like, well, you say first. And he's like, okay, well, actually, you say first because I asked first. And then they go like, okay, on 3, 3, 2, 1. You didn't say it. You didn't say it either. Like that. I thought that was hilarious. But then you can see when Jack goes to hire the next kid, and you can see the kind of go like, oh, hang on a minute. And it's like, this was me about like 10 years ago, and you can see like he's just like there's not even any like pretending about it. He's just like, you motherfucker. And it's and it just reminded me of Let the Right One In, when you can see the vampire girl's servant kind of guy, and then you kind of go like, well, why is he in here? And it's just like, it's because that's Oscar's future.
Yeah.
Geez, there's like a cycle going on, and like he's gonna get spit out at the end of it.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing to pick up on, because that's another thing that's kind of like it's sort of in the first half, Mark Wahlberg's just having a great time, and then as he gets older, somebody else is coming and taking his place, and it's all, and then
It's the nature of the job that is.
Yeah, no, it's really cool, man. I think like I've even got a favourite scene for fucking Philip K. Hoffman, and he's in it so little, but that scene when he comes out of the dressing room and he's dressed in the same suit as the others, and he's just like,
Yeah, he was great. It's just like how casual he is the whole time as well.
That's the
He's
thing. I
just
think
in
he's got
background.
like maybe 2 lines, but he's so yeah.
And the scene where he has the cake as well. Yeah.
That was pretty special. I believe Pat had something to say.
So have you guys gone on any trivia for this film yet?
Emmanuel said a little bit, but not a massive amount.
Right, so you know you were talking about how Mark Wahlberg calls this one of his biggest mistakes
Mm.
or regrets even. Well, I was sort of reading around and I found this one. After seeing a rough cut film, Burt Reynolds regretted making it. He fired his agent for recommending the role to him and did not participate in promotional interviews. Reynolds ended up winning a Golden Globe for the role and being nominated for the Academy Awards performance. Despite being a frontrunner for the latter, it was widely rumoured that he did not win because he distanced himself from the movie, which is hilarious.
This is what I was
And he
saying
apparently
earlier.
did
Like,
this with another film.
well, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, you forget that if this was made now, it wouldn't be so like, it wouldn't be such a big deal. But back in the 90s, like, this was still like a massively taboo thing that people didn't want to be involved with.
I think I quite like Burt Reynolds as an actor, even though he's been in an absolute shit ton of crap. Like,
He's a very good actor, man. Like, I don't think he gets.
yeah,
I don't think he gets as much like recognition now, but like,
no,
yeah, I think he's brilliant in this, man. I was saying earlier, like, he does such a good job of like downplaying who he is, because he's so recognizable, and like because he's so like he's just got like a natural thing where you sort of look at him and you think like that's a respectable person. And for him to sort of flip that into being like this vulnerable porn director who's got all these ambitions and like no skill, well, not no skill, but like more ambition than skill. Yeah, I think he does such a good job of pulling that off.
oh, he really does. Um, the only thing I think of, like when I read that, was like, did he not read the script? This is an issue I have with Jim Carrey in Kick-Ass too, when he moans about how violent it is. Literally, all you have to do is read his script and then read a couple of pages from the comic, and you'll sort of have an idea of what he's walking into. It's almost like they just listen to what their agent says, and they're like, "Yeah, you get this amount of money for doing it. Don't bother reading the script." And then they're like, "What the fuck did I just go in?"
I can't believe
You
I've done this.
you'd think they'd have a bit more smarts than that. Hey, my favourite scene would probably be when Mark Wahlberg's character went to, I can't remember the bloke's name, but he went to his house with 2 other guys, which was Oh fucking hell! I'm a bit hazy. Sorry. I think the other one was John C. Riley with him.
Oh yeah, when he
Yeah.
went to Dr. Octopus's house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that scene.
That is a great scene.
So many great scenes in the film. Like,
Yeah.
like you were talking about the prosthetic. I ended up laughing. And I was like, who do you think he is? Fucking Willem Dafoe.
Perfect.
But no, it was. There's so many great scenes in it. Like, sort of all caught me by surprise because, like, I hadn't even attempted to even want to see it before you mentioned you were going to pick it like a year or so ago.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I had a great time.
I think that's the thing, to be fair, because I was saying earlier that the films that I associate this with are Pulp Fiction and Big Lebowski, because like they were the ones that they were the first films that weren't horror films that I really loved as a kid. But to be fair, it's probably a 4 with those 3 and True Romance. And I spent so long recommending True Romance to you that I probably never got to this.
Yeah. They all seem produced in a similar way as well. Like you can tell that they all come out around the same sort of era, and the production is quite similar as well.
Yeah. Well, it's all like this. It's all the same movement, really, isn't it? It's like that group of directors that were young in the 90s, and they were just trying to go and do things that weren't the things that were already being done.
Yeah.
I think even with True Romance, like even though it's a Tony Scott film, like it's like Quentin Tarantino's all over it. Like it's clearly not something that Quentin Tarantino just went, yeah, here's the script and have at it kind of thing. Like it's yeah. But no, I think it's just that thing. Like it all comes together with the God only knows scene, and when you're seeing how everybody's come out of it, and you know, like Don Cheadle's got his shop, and Reed Rothschild's doing magic now, and like Dirk Diggler hasn't really moved on, but like he's still sort of got that thing that he thinks makes him special. So it's like whatever, and you've also got like I really like the bit actually when Jack says to Roller Girl like go and clean your room kind of thing, because it's like, oh, it's like they've been through all of this and now she's living with them, and yeah, they're all still kind of, you know, broken people to an extent, but they've still got each other, and it's nice. And I think that's also like the fact that this has got so many characters, and it manages to draw like a sort of conclusion for each of them that makes you go, oh, that's good to see them in this position, and that kind of thing. It's really lovely, I think. Especially for Don Cheadle.
I think that's something that I think when you compare it to sort of like modern films where they struggle to characterize one person, and you look at stuff like this, and it's just like, God damn, like, you know, you come out of it liking like everybody, and then they're not even. I don't know, like a lot of them are just kind of clown people, but you still like them. Like even sorry, Ray Jackson's like one of my favorite characters.
Really?
that I've seen. I think I've seen through Film Club. Like I was just kind of like, this guy's a fucking nutter. I was just so happy with it, and like. It's just like small parts of the performance where there's firecrackers going off and he is just not reacting to it like at all. And he's just going like, yeah, whatever, it's China. It's just like, God damn, like I wonder how long he had to be waiting. He had to just be around just random firecrackers going off to get to the level where he wasn't jumping at it.
It's such a
Like,
nice
other-
it's such a nice opposite as well, where like he's just kind of like he's on like such a sort of high level of energy that he's just like not reacting to him, and then you've got John C. Riley just sat in a chair like every time.
then, there's a little bit in there where you really focus on Mark Wahlberg for a bit, and there's like I think there's like a 2 minute, maybe even 3 minute segment where he's just figuring out what he's going to do, and he just doesn't blink. And I think John C. Riley's talking to him, but he is just not reacting. He's just. I was trying not to blink to see if he blinked. I was just kind of like, "Fuck, what is he doing?" Yeah, it just. It's such a cool little film. I really like it.
Had
Really well
any
put
of you seen
together.
it before this week?
No.
Oh, that's cool as well.
Is everyone all right today?
Yeah, good.
We're all getting over the devastation that Bill left behind.
Yeah. That's sad.
Rob, did you go to the rugby today?
No. No, I just watched it on TV.
Oh, okay.
I think that the natural thing to ask is
Silly question.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I think there's
sorry.
actually to
That's a
ask.
silly question. It just, yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, you have. He was talking. I was just remembering a scene where he's like, "I like films like this, and I don't need an Oscar." But there was like an award for porn. I was thinking, what is the name for the awards for porn? And I'm thinking, was it like what they called Johnnies? I don't know. I just like couldn't think of a proper name for them. Was there a name for the porn awards?
Oh, it has to be.
I have no idea, but I
Yeah, there
really
was
did
one.
enjoy seeing the flag behind it that said
I'm-
like second annual award. I was like,
Yeah.
I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, what's it called?
Sure, you can find that on Google.
I'm just
It's
looking now.
new, but it's good.
Yeah. I might say so.
Oh, I can't find it now. Yeah, there's so many little details like that. I think that's another thing I appreciate about it, to be honest, because there's like that. There's the painting of Little Bill. To be fair, also the painting of Dirk Diggler as well, the one that's just like stupid. The curtains and like just loads of things like that, where it's like, yeah, a lot of crafts gone into this because they're things that only pop up for like a second or two, but somebody's had to make that, and that's quite nice. And the
Yeah.
one with
I have
with the
found
two
out.
neon signs, to be fair, the Rodriguez brothers one, and then also the Dirk Diggler one that sort of pops and explodes and whatever.
I found out what the awards were.
Oh yeah,
They're called the AVN Awards.
AVN.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
kind of disappointing.
Yeah. The Adult Videos Award is what it's called.
Fair enough.
Wait, is that in real
apparently been
life
going
or in the
since-
film?
No, real life.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
what I was asking. That's why I googled it.
Huh.
I have heard of it though previously.
It's one of the top ones Pat watches every year with the Oscars and the BAFTAs.
Oh fuck that! No, I can't be asked for those awards. I mean, I've even gone off film award shows now.
These ones, these are top dollar. AVN Awards. Sure, you tune in.
It's never the ones that you want to win that wins.
Mm.
Any other final thoughts?
Good.
It is good. It's a shame we didn't hear what Emmanuel's issues were.
Yeah. I mean,
what
I
happened
feel
to
like
Emmanuel?
fire
There's-
alarm.
Yeah, the fire alarm go off.
Oh.
Feel like I got a message to him afterwards.
When I was watching it, my brother decided to sit down and watch like about a 5-minute bit of it. I was just sat there laughing at how awkward the sex scenes were.
I mean,
I
it
was
would
like,
be
this
if your
is- I
brother
don't
just walked in.
I was like, I don't know if this is something I want to sit down and watch with him.
Yeah, I must admit, it was quite difficult to watch it as like a 13-year-old and like just be sat in my bedroom and
I can't believe you got away with that. That wouldn't have flown.
I know.
Yeah, I was going to say, you watched this when you were 13?
Something like that, yeah. I remember getting it from
that's
Blockbusters.
Oh.
I don't know how I got it from Blockbusters. Somebody must have.
Because was it an 18 here?
If
Yeah, it's
somebody
an
was
18.
not on the ball, it should have been an 18. See Julianne Moore's
Especially-
fucking titty.
Dude,
Yeah, you see
all of those films that like I love now, that I've loved for a long time, I somehow got from Blockbusters as like a 12, 13-year-old. Like Evil Dead, The Exorcist, this, Pulp Fiction. Yeah, I don't know.
Someone
I
did
don't know
not
how
do
I
a
got
I feel
out
like-
their job.
Yeah, I was going to say, the guy at the Blockbusters probably went, fuck it, I'm getting paid either way.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I know my mate's dad got me the Evil Dead. I don't know who. I can't remember the others. But that was Mark's dad, if you remember him.
Marky Mark
Which Mark?
and the Funky Bunch.
I don't want to say his surname because of thingy, but
Oh, right, because like, but in all seriousness, there's like quite a few Marks that I can think of. I don't know which one. Tell me later.
I'm trying to think of a way to describe him without. But no, his dad got me Evil Dead. I think his dad got me Kill Bill as well when that came out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Are we going to Ben's double bill now?
Yeah, you can say so. So for something completely different, my double bill is in what's the word? Incredibly linked to one actor that we've lost recently. As usual, I always go for a tribute for an actor that we need to kind of like recognize and appreciate the work they've done over the years. And I thought I had this.
Underrated.
Yes, you may say so. I've
George
already
is
actually picked one of his films already, if that's a clue.
Oh yeah, you did, yeah.
Yeah, last year. But this one he's not a lead in it, but he's a central part of the first one, and he's kind of like a catalyst of the second film. So my film goes to Rocky and Creed, starring Sylvester Stallone and Carl Weathers. Obviously, Carl Weathers plays Apollo Creed in the original Rocky and plays the father of Creed in the sequel.
Completely different
Adonis.
character. in Creed.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry. You said Creed, right? Like Michael B. Jordan's Creed.
Yeah, Michael B.
Yeah.
Jordan's Adonis Creed.
Michael Creed Jordan.
Yeah, Creed.
No,
Yeah.
I said Michael B. Jordan. Creed. No, I said B. Jordan.
Adonis.
You did say
guess
B.
like
Jordan.
you
I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm verbally shit posting.
Yeah. But I thought it was like both films kind of like deal with legacy and becoming something, and basically becoming unleashing your potential and having so much weight on your shoulders about of yeah, the whole thing. You will understand when I speak more about it next week. But I've always wanted to do these two films are the two best installments of this franchise, as we've briefly covered it
Ooh.
before.
Wait, did you say
Yes.
it was the best versions of Rocky?
I say these are the two best installments of the franchise.
I
Yeah.
I don't know. Rocky Five's
Mm.
not here.
No.
Okay, I feel like we have a long conversation after this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rocky
Yeah.
3 has Hulk Hogan in it, damn it.
Well, either way, I
Doesn't he
felt
wreck everything he touches these days?
Yeah, but his name
Well,
is
that's another conversation in itself, to be honest.
either way,
Rocky Five had an actual fight.
it's made more sense to like pick the first Rocky and the first Creed because of their significance and the link to Carl Weathers, especially.
We should name the supporting actor award after him this year.
Yes, we should.
Yes, fair enough. All right, so Creed and Rocky. Okay,
Yeah.
are they both? I'm pretty sure they're both on Amazon. Are they on any other
Yeah,
places?
they're both Amazon, YouTube, and Apple TV.
YouTube.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, YouTube has lots of films surprisingly on it. You just have to be part of YouTube Red. I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Red Rocket.
That might be a better option than Prime now that they've started putting adverts in.
Yeah, maybe. Definitely for Alex's sake, if he doesn't want to go Apple.
I'm still using
Okay.
Prime.
I get so angry at the thought that somebody at Prime has gone, yeah, we'll stick a Peppa Pig advert halfway through this film.
Yeah. Why? Because it's like even the adverts in the beginning, I can kind of like I can accept just like the 30-second ones in the beginning before the film or the episode starts. That's fine. It's just when it's in the middle randomly, just cut right in there. That's when it's that's the worst. That's the most disrespectful.
That's the thing, because last week when we were talking about it, I thought you were just talking about the adverts at the start.
No,
and I was kind of going like, yeah, that's shit, but it's like, I can deal with it. But then when I was trying to watch Bottoms and then Peppa Pig popped up halfway through, I was just like, what the fuck is this?
Even if they kind of took care in like making an advert that this is something you're watching, but this is something you might also like because it's similar. At least there had been a bit of care in like making it linked to what you are seeing, but that's just so automated and random, just throwing a Peppa Pig in Bottoms.
What a sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can't believe it, man. And it's like an extra £3 a month to stop the adverts as well. And it's like, if you're already paying like £8 or whatever it is, then like just,
My mum
it's
pays
immoral.
the sub here, so I just pay for the lack of adverts.
Ugh, awful.
Yeah, you pay the minimum amount, or don't at all, and don't pay anything.
I use Prime so much that £3 is not really gonna break me.
But it encourages them, and that's awful.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I know, but it's more of a selfish thing for me. If no one else pays it and it's just me in the world, then it's a plus. So that means they won't do it anymore, and I don't have to deal with adverts.
Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense.
So, if say I was the only one to pay to get rid of the adverts, right? They're not making outside of my £3 a month. They're not making any money out of it. At the same time, I don't have to deal with watching adverts. So at some point they're gonna be like, "Well, this is pointless. So let's just that," and then it makes no difference to me, does it? I just get my £3 back.
I think you should reconsider what you're doing, Pat. I think you should be like, don't get rid of your Blu-rays. Just buy Blu-rays and quit Prime. Just straight up buy the Blu-rays.
I know. I'm only getting rid of like
Oh, I know,
package.
but literally, I'd rather buy physical media entirely than support Amazon's extra £3.
Oh,
I'd rather
yeah, I
buy a
know.
Blu-ray for one random film and then just get rid of it
To
afterwards.
be fair, the only stuff I watch on Prime are generally films I haven't seen before, or TV shows.
Yeah, then I'd just like pay minimum. I would never do £3.
Man, that was getting into Steiner math.
Wait, so are we
I'm-
complaining about Amazon
I'm
and
also
TV
really
shows?
tired. I got up at 5:30 this morning, so I am a bit tired.
Oh, have you? Oh, yeah, because you've done Manchester and back today, haven't you?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a long day, to be fair.
Yeah, especially for a loss.
Yeah.
Hey, I got pizza.
I've got grapes.
Ah, we assume that
I feel-
Emmanuel's not returned.
Yeah, I hope he's all right.
I'd hate the fact that if there actually is a fire and it's just that'd be the worst thing, wouldn't it?
Especially with
That'd be
Emmanuel's
horrible, right?
track record.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. I
Has
don't. We should
anyone
probably
ever
mess.
caused a fire before?
I mean, we should just. Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah. Message him just in case. Now, I guess quick question for Rocky though. Do you? I mean, because it's on Prime and all that stuff, would it not be better? Just is there like a way to buy it like as a box set, or would you have to go on Amazon to buy it like a box set?
Yeah, I think you can get it as a box set on there. I think the box set's quite cheap now. With
I had
all
the
of them
box
in
set.
it. Yeah. But I don't think all the Creeds. I think the really expensive box set with the Creeds in it as well. That's next level. But you can get the original Rockies 1 to 6 in one. That's quite reasonable.
Let's see. I'm very curious because. Let's see.
Oh, I just remembered Tessa Thompson and Creed.
Oh yeah, she isn't she?
She was
It's
decent in that.
the 4K is it's called the Knockout Collection. It's got 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's 44 quid. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, the 4K is 44 quid. The Blu-ray is 103 quid. So it's a question of like how much you want to
Mendes back.
buy. Oh,
You don't.
yeah, cool.
No, it's all right. He wins.
Yeah, Rocky
There you
wins. He wins.
Wait, Rocky
Spoilers.
doesn't win.
Well, not in the first film.
He
actually.
wins
Spoilers.
most of them. He wins more than he loses.
He wins in the long
Nice.
run, but not in the first one.
There you go.
He wins the hearts of the viewers.
conclusion,
I mean,
he
yeah.
wins a lot.
Oh, wait, there's actually a Rocky and Creed collection Blu-ray that's £72. It's weird. So, I guess it's
Does it
question of,
include Rocky 5 though? Because if it
No.
doesn't, then it's not worth it.
it includes Rocky 5 and Rocky Balboa, and
Fuck Rocky
includes
Balboa.
Rob's
Whoop,
favourite
whoop.
one.
it
Fucking awful
includes Creed 1, 2, and 3.
I'm gonna pick Balboa.
It's the
You
it's
will
the
get
9
sunk
film.
through the
It's,
bottom of the spreadsheet.
it's the
That's
9.
fine. I don't care.
Nine- yeah, Rob Balboa wasn't great. I mean, what it tried to do was good, but like what
Oh,
it
no, it
did
wasn't.
do was no. Like when you saw the trailers and you thought, oh, it's an interesting idea, but afterwards, what it did was not great.
Oh, the whole premise just pissed me off, man. Because
Oh,
it was just like, dude, you're after everything that Rocky's been through, he's not going to get pissed off about losing a simulation of a PlayStation game. Like, it's just
oh fuck! Oh fuck! Yeah,
Yes.
true.
You'd be surprised.
I don't think I would.
Oh fucking
and
hell!
that's before you get into the issue of whether he'd get a fucking boxing license to make it legal or not.
could always just go to Mexico. Never mind. I guess that's a whole other situation as well.
Imagine that. I'm going to Mexico to have an illegal fight because I'm pissed off that I lost a simulation.
But right,
Yeah, you would hope
mean-
someone would be like, Rocky, just reality check.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
60 years old, man. Let it go.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. That's it. Just run your Italian restaurant. It'll be fine. It'll be great.
You were quite content with your life for the first time in a long time, and now you're pissed off about nothing.
Old
Right.
people for you.
Be glad I'm not picking Rocky Balboa.
I would like somebody to pick Rocky
I
2
mean-
though, because I feel like that's an essential part of like
I think
Rocky into
someone should
Creed.
pick Rocky
I mean,
5.
yeah. I feel like that's the conversation that we needed to have when we do the call next. Of which one is the better Rocky film? Which is
Five.
They're close.
Yeah, it's between 5 and 3.
I feel like 3 is.
They go downhill after 2,
The rest
Oh,
and
no.
then back up
Fuck
again
it.
when Balboa.
That's no.
Oh,
That's
because
pretty fucking awful.
Regardless
For
of what
me,
you think,
like if
these
you,
are two
if you
muffins.
just go in Rocky films, it's probably 1, 2, and Balboa, and then you can keep the rest.
I don't understand how you've. Yeah.
I can forgive the story because the fight was amazing.
Was it? I don't even remember it.
It's because you hated everything else, so you've just forgotten how well the fight was choreographed.
Oh, I feel like it'd have to do a lot of heavy lifting.
It didn't have anything on 5. Well, I mean,
5 was definitely the weakest.
Hey, hang
Nah.
on. 5 had a character
4
called Tommy
exists.
Gunn.
4 exists and Balboa exists.
I don't remember much of 4.
Oh, 4's
No, 'cause
iconic, man.
it was all a
What-
music video.
Which one was the Dolph Lundgren one?
Yeah, that's 4.
4.
Oh, actually, I didn't mind that one because it had one of my favorite quotes.
Oh,
If he
One of your
dies,
favourite
he
quotes?
dies.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
4 was quite imperative in the story of everything because that's when they actually kill Creed off.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
it was still rubbish.
We basically just need to pick every Rocky film now because otherwise we need to bridge the gap between this double bill.
So homework events, guys. So if you want to watch all what is it, all 9
No, we're not bringing back
Rocky
homework.
Creeds? Yes, we
There
I
will
will be
watch them
9.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just about have enough time for 2 films.
I don't care, Pat. We need to watch all 9 by next week.
Ah,
Emmanuel, that goes for you. And Simon.
This is so typical of you, Ben. You've got a double bill and you've picked a trilogy of trilogies.
That's why I picked Rocky 1 and Rocky 7, Hadrian's Revenge.
Adrian.
Adrian!
It's a very good double bill pick.
I don't think I've watched Rocky
Shame I have
since
to
we
watch
did
Rocky
the.
1 again.
I wonder how it's going to hold up to your new system though, because you weren't using this system when we did the event.
Oh,
Yeah,
lucky
I have
that
a feeling
system.
it'll boost.
Sorry, what did I miss?
Ben's picked
Oh,
his
lots of
film,
things.
and Pat's back from Manchester.
Hi, Emmanuel.
Yeah, Pat, hope you're all right.
Yeah, quick rundown. It seems like the fire brigade are still trying to reset the panel completely, but it seems like someone purposely broke the glass on the fire alarm thing in the lobby
Blue,
Oh,
blue.
right.
building. What's happening? Um, but yeah, they're trying to reset it. Fortunately, we practically live next to a fire station,
Oh, right.
so it shouldn't take too long so they can kind of sort it out and get the correct key to be able that fits our kind of panel to reset it. But yeah, yeah. a lot of people had evacuated. Just like, what the crap is going on? Anyway, what films did you pick?
Oh, there. So I picked two classic movies. I can't remember if you've actually
You still
seen
do
them.
the whole intro again.
No, I won't do it. I won't spare manual the whole.
He just
miserable-
does it all word for word.
So yes, when we did this as a special event, when did we do that? 2021.
It would have been the first year, I
That
think.
was-
Yeah.
Yeah, as
2020
every,
even, yeah.
yeah, every month we did like a franchise that me, Pat, and Rob and Alec would do, and one of them was the Rocky franchise. So I thought, because of Carl Weathers passed away a couple months ago, I thought it would be a good idea to do like the first Rocky and the first Creed. Those two films, what he has an integral impact to the story. They're both playing on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, wherever you want to go. So yeah, so I thought those two are my favorite ones of the franchise, and I thought the first chapters in each of their stories would be a good parallel of their journey. So yeah.
Fair enough. That makes sense. Cool. Since I didn't, I might as well say my like favorite scenes or least favorite or et cetera, et cetera. My least enjoyable one was the scene where they was trying to sell the baking soda as drugs. In that whole scene, the reason it was one of the least enjoyable ones for me is because it did I said not too well. It did very well in making me feel uncomfortable in the tension of like what the crap is going to happen, especially after seeing the scene in the bakery, which I did not see coming until the guy came in with like to rob the place. Until that happened, I didn't see that coming. So now you have this rip off drug deal kind of going on. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then even though it's bad enough that these characters have decided, okay, we're desperate enough to do this. At the end of the day, yeah, like he was really desperate times, et cetera, and not in the best place. Even they were just like, dude, we need to go. We need to go. We need to leave. And he won't leave. And it's just like, why the won't you leave? Can you just go? That guy next, for all we know, next thing he's gonna turn around and shoot them all in the back of the heads. Just go. Just go. And then of course we see how that plays out. As I mean, better than expected. Only one of them died, one that we didn't care about. So like we definitely didn't care about. So cool. It's a decent ending. He learned a lesson in life and actually made it out alive. But watching that whole scene was horrible. But well done. In terms of favorite scenes, I would say there's certain ones. I'll just say kind of favorable scenes because I'm not sure if I can pick a favorite. But the scene at the end where Dirk is talking to himself in the mirror, and I thought Mark did a good job at reflecting how this character has learned some things through life. And he was a dick and a douchebag and all this kind of stuff and developed into this douche. But now he's taking it more serious and his character has developed. And he has this different air to him. which I thought was a good scene. I mean, I didn't care about him unzipping his pants at the end, but how he was like talking to himself in the mirror, I was like, no, that's really good. I like. It was all one take. It was like, I think that was done very well. I think he did well as an actor in that scene. Good job. I wouldn't usually say that to you. Good job. So I don't have anything against him. I just barely watch anything with him in it. So that's that. The scene where Roller Girl, I wonder when she actually does take off her skates. Anyway, the scene where Roller Girl says, can you be my mom? Can I ask you to be my mom? And can you say yes? It's just like, you know what, even though there's the whole kind of mess of like, you really shouldn't be doing drugs like this. This is not good for you. Please stop it. Please get help. That meme when Michael Jordan's like, stop it. Get some help. Or something like that.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about. Fuck.
That is great. But it is in the midst of all the broken characters. That is a nice moment. I also did like. I thought it was decent acting. It's like ugly crying, kind of like acting not meant to be pretty. But like she, the one who the one she asked to be mom, whatever. She wants to get her kid, but she's facing the reality of her own situation. That there's one thing about being in the porn industry, but also being around all the drugs, also about doing the drugs herself. And this is I'm trying to think, this is way after the war on drugs. When was that? Like, was it with Nixon? Was it in the 70s or something?
Yeah, it would have been 70s, 80s.
Yeah, so this would have been after the kind of start of the war on drugs. And she knows like this is really perceived as really, really bad. This is not in the heyday of a lot of things being okay. And she still hasn't changed because it's still a real problem for her. And her come to terms that this is stopping me from being able to like be with my kid and see my kid and spend time with my kid and bring him places. And it when I saw that scene and felt like ugly crying, it reminded me of the scene where they're looking for Maggie. Like, anyone here called Maggie? No, the Latin guy. And there's that scene, very good scene, where she looks up and she's doing drugs and whatnot. And because of what she's involved in, she wasn't able to be able to hear that, so she could actually get time to speak to her kid when she was like trying her best not to cry before, because she's not letting the kid talk to her. So yeah, I thought those were good, and for a separate reason, because it's specifically Mark Wahlberg, and and or because he's the type of person he's the type of person he was, whatever, whatnot. I did like the scene where his character got beaten up. Like, I didn't like it in terms of the character itself. I thought that really sucked for the character. That was really hard, really like harsh what he went through. But it was kind of ironic because of what he as a person has actually done in his real life.
Yeah.
So that was I say interesting kind of reflection. When I watched, I was like, oh, there. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
I know
think
what you
that
mean, to be fair.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have. But yeah. But I think. I think on another side, I think it was quite good how he represented, even though he didn't go too deep into it, even the views around like homosexuality and stuff. Like he did things respectfully. So yeah, and all in all, good job. I mean, I wonder if I might edit my scores a little bit. I'm not sure. I might edit them a little bit, but yeah, that's my scenes.
Nice, man.
Right, I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah, I should as well, to be fair. I'm going to go and see One Love tomorrow morning.
This one.
Oh, cool.
Me and Ben are watching it Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, One Love Man. Bob Marley man.
Yeah.
All right,
I know someone who's seen it. Right.
Rob, you're not
Yeah.
on the call next week, are you?
Nah, well, I might be, but late, but yeah, probably not.
Right,
Alright.
cool. Well,
Right,
hopefully
I'll see you guys next
week.
week.
Bye. Next
Take care.
time.
Bye.
See you guys in a bit.
Uh,